So the snow has finally melted and you can see your grass again, which means that you get to come out into your garden and assess how everything survived over the winter, checking out your perennials and anything that might be sprouting come this spring. But what you actually notice is that all over your lawn, you have holes that have been dug up, or maybe you actually see dozens of birds that are hanging out on your front lawn. And if you see either these holes or birds, or maybe even both of them, this is a really good sign that you have lawn grubs, and that is what is being dug up by skunks, raccoons, or even birds. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through what lawn grubs are, what the adult beetle is that they emerge into, why they're a problem for you, how you can fix them in natural ways that avoid using any chemicals, and how you can prevent them from happening again in the future. If you're new here, my name is Bree from Urban Gardening Canada, and I garden in Ottawa Zone 5. And if you've ever struggled with Japanese beetles, then this is a video that's going to be important to you because they are actually one of the beetles that these grubs turn into. And of course, if you've had them before, you know what kind of damage that they can wreak on your plants. So it's not just about your lawn being ruined, but your plants are going to get ruined later in the season as well. And now is literally the perfect time to go out and check on your lawn and start implementing these solutions that I'm going to be giving you in today's video. So let's start with what lawn grubs are, and they are the larvae of many different beetles, but here in Canada, it's about 3 different ones. The most predominant one is the June beetle, but it's also the Japanese beetle and the European chafer. Now they all look really, really similar. So when you're digging them up, it's actually difficult to tell which one of these beetles you have the most of. But since Japanese beetles and European chafers are invasive to Canada, the predominant grub that you're going to find in your gardens is actually June beetles. And if you dug up a bunch of these grubs and put them side by side with each other, June beetle grubs are actually larger than the European chafer and the Japanese beetle. And that's about the only way you're really going to be able to tell the difference between whether you have June beetles, Japanese beetles, or the European chafers. But the reality is it doesn't really matter. You're going to be able to use all of these tips in this video to deal with the populations for all 3 of them. But just know that for the most part, these are actually going to be June beetle larvae. Now, the thing is that June beetles as a whole don't actually cause a lot of damage to your garden. June beetle adults mostly feed on the leaves of trees. So if you do live in a very forested rural area, June beetles can be a bigger problem for you and your trees. But if you're like me and you live in an urban space, June beetles really don't cause any damage to you. They're just kind of annoying because they fly around like buffoons. It's the Japanese beetle grubs that are a way bigger issue for us because they are such generalist feeders. They'll eat anything. And if you need any more advice on Japanese beetles, I do have a video out on that I will link below and above for you guys to check out. But for the most part, just know that when you are dealing with these lawn grubs, the main reason you're doing it is because you want your lawn to look nice, but really they're not going to be causing too much damage to your garden as a whole. Now let's talk about how you can identify lawn grubs and their damage. So the first sign to even know you have them is having your lawn dug up. Say you're laying down new sod and you see your sod being rolled up constantly. This is a sign that you have grubs in the soil below, or if you have holes in the lawn like I do right here, or you see a ton of, generally it's starlings that are on top of your lawn eating, it's because you have grubs. So when you actually see the grubs, they are pretty ugly. They are not a nice looking bug. They are a long, yellow, translucent-ish larva, and they have a brown head and a really big butt. And when you disturb them, they'll curl up into a C shape. And this is the best way to know that you have the larva of the Japanese beetles, June beetles, or even the European chafer. So the reason that you have all of your damage in your lawn is because they're actually feeding on the first 3 to 4 inches of soil line, and that's because they feed on the roots of the grass. So I'll talk about the life cycle a little bit later in this video, but because they're sitting at that higher level, it makes it easier for nocturnal animals like skunks and raccoons to find them, as well as it does for birds. But when you are going to look to see how many you have, you really don't have to dig up more than 3 to 4 inches at the soil line in order to even find them. And this is why all of the damage is isolated to your grass, is because this is their host plant. So the government of Canada does have an interesting chart that talks about when you find the damage from June beetles, Japanese beetles, and European chafers. Unfortunately, the timelines do overlap of when the damage is, but it really is March to October, which is a very long timeline. But some of these tips that I'm going to give you are things that you can be doing in the spring and the fall. Specifically, I'll be talking about nematodes, and now is the perfect time to be applying nematodes, and the fall is going to be a perfect time too, and it's all based on their life cycle. Now, because grass is their host plant, this is where they will be laying their eggs. So let's talk about the life cycle of these beetles. So in the springtime, these beetles are going to come up to the first 3 to 4 inches of soil line, because that's where the grass roots are, and they are going to feed on the roots of your grass. And this is going to leave yellow dead patches all over your lawn because they are eating the lifeline of your grass. Then the larva is going to pupate and turn into these beetles, and they're going to come out. June beetles come out in May and June, and Japanese beetles really have a full force from June to August. And they are going to come out and they are going to feed as adults, they're going to mate, and then they're going to lay their eggs back in the grass again. When those eggs hatch, they turn into larvae again, and in the fall time, they're going to continue to eat on roots until it gets cold. As the temperature changes and the soil starts to freeze, these larvae will bury down deeper into the ground so they can hibernate over the winter time. And then when spring rolls around again, like right now, they're going to come back up to those 3 to 4 inches and start feeding again to finish off their larval cycle in order to turn into adults. So this is why spring and fall are the perfect time to be spraying nematodes, because this is when they are at the shallowest of your lawn in order to be able to get the nematodes to attack them. In the wintertime, they are too deep in the ground, and in the summertime, they are in their adult form. So there's nothing for you to be able to target when you spray your lawn. Now, here's the thing, is that if you are a lawn lover, then you are creating the perfect environment for lawn grubs. They love well-watered soil. They love well-trimmed lawns. They love that green, lush grass that you are trying to create. They like a space that has no ants in it, which I'll cover later on. And so if you are the type of person who's always trying to create that perfect lawn, then you are going to be inviting as many grubs into your lawn as possible, because that's exactly what they want. And so this is one of the tips that I'm going to provide you on how to reduce the populations of lawn grubs, is by changing how you grow your lawn, whether it's the type of lawn that you grow or just how you care for it during the summer months. So prior to me moving into this house, the person that owned it was actually essentially a landscaper. So he had all of the automatic watering hoses. He kept his lawn clean. He grew these amazing cedar bushes. This was just what he did. And when we moved into here, we changed how we grow our lawn, because we don't mow it very often. I don't pick out any weeds. I don't kill any anthills. We're very much like a very natural lawn. So it's a surprise to think that we have lawn grubs because of how natural we keep it. However, there has been years before we moved in here where this lawn was the perfect habitat for them. So although I have some dug up spots here that tell me that I have lawn grubs, the main reason that I know I have them is because when I was digging up my perennial gardens that I have in the front of my house, every time I was digging up the lawn, I was finding grubs, which I like to throw onto the road for robins to eat during nesting season, which was a really great way to deal with the grubs while I was feeding the birds. So if you're not sure if you have them, whether you don't have dug up lawn or you haven't seen any birds, but you do want to check if you have lawn grubs, you are going to want to dig up a 1 foot by 1 foot square in your garden. And again, you only need to go about 6 inches deep. And then you're going to flip that piece of that square foot of lawn over, and you're going to dig through the thatch and all of the soil, and you're going to see if you find any grubs. If you find no grubs, then you have no problem. If you find 1 or 2 grubs, then you have a little bit of a problem, but it's not that much. But the more grubs that you find in that square inch, the bigger the problem that you have. And this is where you're really going to want to take advantage of all of the tips that I'm about to give you. But before we get into that, I do want to mention that I have my Gardening Basics for Beginner Gardeners ebook that is available for you if you are a newer gardener and you are looking to solidify all of the gardening foundations in order to provide food security, or just local organic food that is good for your family, or just to even grow your favorite varieties, and you're not quite sure where to start, then this book is for you. I am going to leave a link for it below, and I will have the QR code on the screen here that you can scan. And if this is something that interests you, it's jam-packed full of all the information that you need to take yourself from a beginner gardener to that beginner intermediate and be really confident this season. And it's going to answer all the questions that you may have, from fertilizing to watering to when to plant stuff out. And I highly recommend this book for you in order to really give you all of that confidence for this season. Okay, so let's talk about the different ways that you can deal with the grubs in your lawn, from first how to get rid of them to begin with, and then what you can do in order to change your lawn so that way they don't come back. Okay, so if you've been around here long enough, you'll know that I'm never, ever going to suggest spraying chemicals. You're not going to find me telling you to put any type of pesticides, herbicides, or even if they're organic or not, this is not what's going to happen. Your lawn is going to be done naturally through all of these tips, so that way dogs can safely walk on your lawn, your kids can play on your lawn, and birds can still use this as a feeding ground safely. And so the first suggestion is nematodes. I love this suggestion. I use it all of the time. And nematodes are these microscopic organisms that eat the grubs. And this is exactly what you want, of course. So nematodes are being sold in a lot of places now, but really they should be refrigerated at all times because they are a living organism. So when you do decide to buy them, you have to, one, get the right strain that's for these grubs. So you want like a lawn grub strain, a Japanese beetle strain, you're looking for something like that. Number two, when you buy it, it has to be refrigerated. So whether it's refrigerated in store or when you buy it online, they'll tell you to keep it refrigerated when you get it, and they're going to send it in a refrigerated package. This is exactly what you need, because if they ever warm up, the nematodes die, and you're essentially just buying something that says that it's nematodes, but it really isn't. And then when it doesn't work for you, you're going to think that nematodes don't work, but it's really because the way that they were sold to you was incorrect. So you can spray nematodes in the spring, and you can spray them in the fall time, again, because of the life cycle. They're coming up to the higher end of the lawn in order to eat the roots. And in order to apply them, all you need is a hose, a watering hose, and one of those sprayers that people buy for like lawn fertilizer, and you put the nematodes inside of that, fill it with water, attach it to your hose, and you're going to spray it all over your lawn. And depending on the type of nematode that you buy, it'll tell you how much square footage coverage that it will do, so you can buy according to that. If you apply these in the spring and the fall for the first year, then you're really going to see a difference. And so again, you have to remember that if you're spraying the grubs, it's because you don't want your lawn to be dug up, because here in Canada, if it's predominantly June beetles and they're only eating the leaves of trees, they're really not affecting your garden at all. So this is a choice for your lawn specifically if you're trying to keep it nice, or if you are trying to control the Japanese beetle populations, this is going to help with that. But the second alternative is to grow a different type of lawn. So again, they really love that perfect lawn. They love it cut to 2 to 3 inches. They love that there's no weeds in it. They love that the thatch is the right amount for them. They love that it's well watered, because they really like that moisture in the lawn. And so if you are that person who keeps a pristine green front lawn, then you are always going to be getting grubs in it. So if you want to avoid that, then grow a different type of lawn. So this could be leaving your grass to grow a lot longer, because they don't like it when it's 3 to 4 inches in length. You can water it less, or just don't water it at all and allow the environment and the rain to water it and let it take care of itself. Allow there to be weeds in there, and allow ant hills, because these are all things that are going to help you fight your lawn grub population. The second option is to grow something other than grass on your lawn. So it can be turning your entire lawn into gardens of perennial flowers or native flowers for your pollinators, or it could be changing your lawn out to something like clover, because these are not the host plants for the grubs. If your whole lawn is clover, then you won't be getting any grubs in your lawn, because they have nothing to eat. If your whole lawn is native flowers for the pollinators, again, they have nothing to eat. So this is going to reduce your June beetle population, but it's also going to reduce your Japanese beetle population, which is really a win-win if you are growing perennials or flowers of any kind, because the Japanese beetles love to eat them. That if you're reducing how much lawn you have around your garden, you're also going to reduce the Japanese beetle population. All right, so the next option is to invite birds to your property because the birds eat these grubs. And especially birds that are going through nesting season, they love to eat insects because this is how they feed their bodies and they feed their young. First off, if you allow the starlings or the grackles or any blackbirds to take over your lawn and eat the grubs, this is a great way to deal with your grub population by letting the birds take care of it. But the other option is creating a safe space for birds to come in. So that means keeping your cat indoors, putting water out for them through bird baths or drinking spaces, or just making sure that they have somewhere to hide and stay away from predators when they need to. And then they're going to come in and they're going to eat insects. And especially during nesting season, birds can eat hundreds of insects a day. And so this means that your lawn grubs are going to get taken care of by the birds. The other thing that you have to remember too is that the safer the space is for birds, that means the more adult beetles are being eaten too. So not only are they going to be in your lawn eating the grubs, but these birds are going to come to your property knowing that there's food here, and they're going to eat the adult insects. So they're going to eat the June beetles, they're going to eat the Japanese beetles. And this means that the more adults that are being eaten, the less eggs that can be laid later on, which is going to help reduce your populations for next year. Okay, so this one is one of my favorites because I just don't love the war on ants. For some reason, people love to hate ants, and they're always spraying ant hills. They're always just disrupting them, and ants are just incredible insects. From the healing properties that they provide to crows to what they do for your lawn is just like nothing short of amazing. And so for me, when I watch people spraying ant hills, I feel really sad about it because ants will aerate the soil in your lawn. But in terms of this, the most important thing that they do is that they eat the eggs of these beetles. So whenever the Japanese beetle or the June beetle comes back to the lawn to lay their eggs, if there is an ant hill nearby, those ants are going to eat those eggs, which means no larvae for next year, which comes back to the same storyline that the more you take care of your lawn and the more pristine it is, the more likely you are going to get those lawn grubs. So it is totally counterintuitive. So finally, the best way that you can control and prevent them for years to come is just to combine everything in this video. So that means spraying the nematodes once to twice a year until you no longer see your lawn being dug up. That means changing out your lawn to something else like native plants, clover, or just a flower garden. It means changing how you mow your lawn, whether it is keeping it longer, watering it less, being okay with the birds and animals coming in to eat, switching it out to clover. There are just so many different options that you have that can really help deal with these lawn grubs, or you can just let it be and not even worry about them at all. Again, with the June beetles, if they're only going to be eating the tree leaves, it's really not that big of a deal for any of us in urban spaces. And the Japanese beetle population, of course, is always irritating, which is hand picking them off or leaving the ant hills to eat the eggs is really going to help as well. So there's just all these different natural options that you have, and it's a lot of options that are going to help take care of all of your lawn grub problem. And it means that you don't need to use any chemicals, which is just way better for the birds, the animals, the bees, and the environment as a whole. And that is everything for today's video. I do hope that you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and check out this video here. Bye.